That weekend, I gave up completely on trying to fit in. Not only had the strange thing called puberty caused all my playmates to look gargantuan, but the school was a labyrinth. My mother, however, sat me down, comforted me, and explained to me that someday I'd mature into the mindset of a middle schooler and begin to enjoy myself. Now, let's fast forward a bit to 7th grade. We were all more adjusted to the environment. For example, I realized that it was less about who had the prettiest Disney princess book bag and the nicest mega pack of Crayola markers, but more about who had their bun popping and J's on my feet. We were also more willing to take on challenges, thanks to the Brainology program introduced by Mrs. Shubnikov in grade 6. We started realizing that we would need the growth mindset for the kind of workload that would be dumped on us. I mean, we had to take Spanish, as if we could speak English properly. I remember envying the 8th graders' freedom, but that was soon negated when we were constantly advised of the rigorous work that we had to execute when we got there. On the first day of 8th grade, however, that was the farthest thing from our minds. Finally, we were the big dogs of the school. That meant special privileges, lunch parties, and even an overnight senior trip. But we were abruptly knocked off of our thrones with the onslaught of assignments, projects, examinations, increased expectations, and new responsibilities, such as applying for high schools, taking the SHSAT, having to get ready for 2 regents, a proficiency exam, 2 state tests, and an exit project. And for the first time in my life, I was staying up late, not to watch Pretty Little Liars, but instead to watch half-hour lesson videos. But from all the plethora of advanced work we had to complete, I feel that we got so much more than learning to solve hieroglyphics in algebra, to read closely, or to make your thinking visible. We learned to become better human beings, if I may borrow one of these Jacob's metaphors. For example, I learned so much more than I had realized from her passionate and insightful stories, from Mrs. Quinn's reflection assignments, asking us to write letters to our future selves, from Ms. Sanchez's reality checks when we were a little bit too laid back, from Mr. Martin's pep talks on being confident in ourselves, from Mr. Byers' eye-opening lessons on being financially responsible as we grow into adults, from Mr. Curley's multitude of essays targeting troublesome writing skills, or even from Mr. Augustine's humorous anecdotes explaining puberty and containing advice about adolescence. To all the teachers from grades 6 to 8, we owe you a debt of gratitude. You are equally indebted to Mr. Lord, Mr. Giampatone, and the other administrators who kept the engine of the school running. Our guidance counselor, Ms. Justin, who acted more than a guidance counselor. Ms. Miller, who as usual wore many hats this year in an effort to help us create a more memorable senior year. The cafeteria staff, the nurse, and the maintenance crew. You all helped to resolve our problems, from lost Metro cards to spilt milk to high school admission letters to a growling stomach. And to you, the graduating class, I must say thanks for creating such a vibrant community in the school for the past 3 years. We all worked together, not hesitating to give each other a helping hand. Whether it were to help tutor each other, to study for exams, or even to lend $1 for a honey bun at the bodega. And last but definitely not the least, I must say a special thank you to our parents. You are the foundation of our lives, and you have been there with us through everything. making sacrifices for the past 14 years. Honestly, I don't know how you guys do it. You've been there to lend a word of advice and encouragement in times of confusion, to have an open ear in times of despair and disappointment, and to even high-five us in times when our efforts paid off. You all have enriched our lives greatly. Now, my fellow graduates, our last names aren't Hilton, Gates, Kardashian, nor are they Rockefeller. My last name, for example, is Blaze. And maybe we don't live in the most affluent neighborhoods. And maybe our parents can't afford to pay our way through Ivy League programs in schools. So what this means is that we'll have to work a little harder and struggle a little more than other kids might have to. We've seen the numbers. We've seen the numbers. According to a Pew Research poll conducted in the 2011 to 2012 academic year, only about 9% of either Blacks or Hispanics have a bachelor's degree or higher. So already, statistics are stacked up against us, predicting our futures and chances of success. I want to let every one of you, members of the graduating class of 2014, know that statistics do not define any one of us. We all have the potential to do as well as other kids. We don't need racial quotas to limit our success. With enough tenacity, courage, and industry, we can level the playing field, crush records, and inspire young children sitting at home wondering if they ever be good enough to make it to the top. Through our success, we can give hope to the children like the Nigerian girls, who with their blood and tears are paying the price for merely wanting to learn. In our country, we can correct the stereotypical portrayals of Blacks and Hispanics in media as ghettoish, uneducated, aliens, perhaps undocumented, who work in the fast food industry. Our generation possesses the world's next top surgeons, entrepreneurs, Olympians, world changers, and groundbreakers. So really, my fellow graduates, this isn't a farewell, but instead more of a see you later. See you on billboards, see you on talk shows, see you on the west steps of the U.S. Capitol being inaugurated as president. See you on the big screen, and even if I just see you as I'm walking down the street, each one of you will hold enough power to dare greatly, as Roosevelt said, and to pivot the world on its axis and change history. Thank you.